So as you can see, Diana's working in the gallery today. So that leaves it up to me to come out and make a video for you this week. I promise we'll have Diana in a video in the near future. But for now, just you and me. So where are we going this week? Well, I thought I'd take you to a secret place this week. And you're probably asking yourself, well, why is it secret? Why can't you just tell me where it is? Last week you told us you were going to Ellis Creek. This week it's a secret? Well, yes, and I'll tell you why. I read last week that because of geotagging, so when people tag their photos with a location that you can find by GPS or on a map, it actually ends up ruining the place because all sorts of other people go there hoping to take the same photo as the person who tagged the photo, which in my mind is kind of a waste of time. Why go out there and take a photo that's exactly the same as someone else's photo? But people persist in doing it. So I'm going to take you to a place that I think is pretty special. I've been here over the last couple of weeks just to see how it's progressing through the fall. The first time I came out here, really the conditions weren't ideal. It was too sunny in the sky, the light was very harsh, but there was a tree that was lit up with yellow leaves. So I took a few pictures of it, and as I suspected, when I got home and put it in the computer, I discovered that indeed the light was too harsh. Things were not working well in the photo. I did my best. I did some work in Photoshop to make it a little less stark, and you can see the result. And I kind of liked it, but I thought, you know, it's going to be a lot better out there in a few days, or at a different hour when the light is different. So a week later, we came back out to look at it, and was I surprised? That big, beautiful tree that had been covered with yellow leaves just 1 week before now had half the leaves gone. They were lying on the ground. We had had some pretty strong winds in the last week, and it had blown most of the leaves right off the tree. But I thought it still made a very intriguing subject, so I climbed up on the hill, set up my camera, and I took a few more pictures. While I was there, I noticed that up in the sky, the clouds were hanging just over the mountains in the distance, and we were almost at sunset. And I thought, if I stay here for just a few more minutes, those clouds might light up with beautiful colors just before sundown. So I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And Diana waited in the truck, and I think she was getting pretty impatient by the time I finally came down. But my patience was rewarded, as you can see. Beautiful pink colors in the sky over the vineyards below with their fall colors in full splendor. So why do I say all that? Well, just because I've come back here today to see how this location has progressed in the 2 weeks since that last photo. Now, I don't have a lot of hope for fall colors anymore because, well, the season has moved on. We just had the first snow of the season yesterday. Not much of it stuck, but there it is. We're farther into November now, and really, most of the leaves are gone. So I expect when I get to this location that I'm going to find the entire vineyard stripped of its leaves. And that yellow tree that was so enormous with yellow leaves a few weeks ago will probably be bare as well. But I think it's worth doing because sometimes to get the best picture, you have to visit a location multiple times. So with that in mind, let's go down the road to this secret location that I don't want to give away the location of so that it's not ruined by hordes of tourists. And we'll see what we can find. So let's go. Most of the leaves seem to have gone on both the vineyard and on the tree back there. I'll just turn around so you can get a better look at it. That's the tree. So just a few days ago, I was up there taking pictures and it was covered in yellow leaves. It was gorgeous, but now of course fall has moved on and the leaves have gone. As you can see, the vineyard has lost all of its leaves as well. We're going to climb up this hill, up somewhere up there, and we're going to take a picture that way toward the lake, and we'll see if we can get anything interesting. No guarantees. You can never guarantee that when you come out you're actually going to come home with a good shot, but it's worth a shot. So as I mentioned when we were down below, the tree up above here has absolutely no leaves left on it at all. It's completely stripped bare, which is a shame in one way, but in another way, it adds an interesting dimension to it. If you look, you can see that there's a neat sort of skeletal aspect to it as it hangs over the lake below. And as you look down at the vineyards, you can see that even though they have none of their leaves left, they make some interesting parallel lines that point you toward the lake. Okay, so we're set up for our first shot here, and as you can see, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to catch the tree on the left-hand side of the frame, so it acts as a foreground influence. And then we have the lake in the background, which will be led toward by all those leading lines in the vineyard. Now, one of the complicating factors about today is that the sky is very bright over the lake. You can see there's a band of cloud over there, and it really is lit up when the sunshine comes into it. We're going to have to bracket our shots for that reason, so that hopefully we can come out with one exposure that actually works for both the foreground, the midground, and that bright sky up there. So let's give it a shot, see what we can come out with. So one thing that I think is very important when you come out to a location is not just to take the first very obvious shot. Yes, when I came out here before, that tree was the obvious star of the show in the foreground with the nice leaves in the vineyard below. But now that those leaves have gone and we're left with just the skeleton of the vineyard and of the tree, what else is there out here? So I'm going to take a few minutes, have a cup of coffee here, and think about where my next step will take me. That coffee must have been a cup of ambition, because I've decided to go up higher. I'm going to ask you to keep a secret for me. Not just the secret of where we're visiting today, but the secret of where I'm standing right now, because if Diana knew about this, I'd probably get in trouble. She doesn't like it when I stand next to the edge, so don't tell her about this. Our little secret. All right, I think we found an interesting point of view. You can see I've got the tripod just behind me here. We're going to be looking over the vineyard and lake as we were before, but now we're going to be using this little piece of scenery as our foreground element. So let's take a couple of shots and see if we can come up with anything useful. And again, we're going to be bracketing our shots because that sky is super bright. Well, that about wraps up our visit to this secret location, and I think it was actually well worth the trip. I'm going to head back to town, away from our secret location, and see what we got with some of these pictures. Of course, you're miles ahead of me. You've already seen all of the pictures during this video, but for me, that remains in the future. So for now, take care, and I'll see you next time.
So where did you go today?
It's a secret. You know, that always looks really funny when you see it on other people's videos, but when your camera falls over, you know, it isn't that funny. But then why am I laughing?